Right. We start with the Bombers and their woes. They continue after the weekend.
Well, it was really interesting to see John Worsfold actually fire up for the first time in a while in the last few days, Matthew, and I was pretty staggered at a couple of things he said. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, look, I've read some comments from people that are pretty well-respected people in the footy industry, and they sound like six-year-old kids. Like, it's a bit embarrassing to read what some people say, but it's a passionate game. I get that. But we're going to stick the course, and we're going to be a very good team very quickly.
Well, they're not a very good team, and it's not happening very quickly. And if there's one thing I find frustrating as a footy supporter is when I'm asked to be patient. And he went on to ask Essendon supporters to be patient.
How long can the patience go?
They've been very patient, Matthew.
Yeah, and it's at the point now where I ask myself about Essendon, what do they do? Because they've brought in Stringer, Sard, and obviously Devon Smith. But now I think to myself, they've gone past the point of can they win one? So now after all that and bringing players into the club, I really hope that they hold on to draft picks now, because I think it's about getting good players into the club. So
surely they couldn't be back in the rebuild.
Well, not fully, Hutchie, but I think that I sort of don't see a premiership next year. They're starting with a new coach, so I don't want to be seeing more players brought into this footy club. I want to see
that margin flooded them on the weekend. They were poor at times in that game.
Yeah, it did. And Kane, I suppose I'll go to you on that. Where do you see Essendon going forward? Like I'm saying, they've got a top 10 draft pick, the way they're going to finish this season. They've won one of their last 7 games. The Suns they drew with, and they won one other against the Adelaide Crows. But I'd be holding on to the draft selections, because I just think that why bring another one into the club when it hasn't helped them over the last 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, so would I, Lloyd. We spoke about it last week, just in terms of I think they need to do a little bit of what St Kilda did and rejuvenate their list while still remaining competitive in the off-season. So if the Saints can go to 14th to challenging for a top 4 position this year, why can't Essendon do that with some shrewd trading? Now, would you back the club in to do it with the way they've built their list since 2004? Perhaps you wouldn't. But if they can get a Nathan Jones, a Paddy Ryder, a Butler, players that don't cost much, and you think left field, then maybe I think they can. But they've got to sort their game style out as well. I mean, one thing you knew when you watched Essendon of recent times in the last couple of years, you knew you were going to be excited, the way they moved the ball off half-back. That was their trademark. So this is Essendon at their best. This is electrifying. It's only 12 months ago. Like, this is unstoppable when they were playing this footy. So Ben Rutten has come in, and whatever reason, he's stifled this ball movement. So they're 11th for mark play on percentage. They're 10th for going through the corridor from their back line. They're 14th going around the boundary line. Look, these are all numbers that are showing up in the way that they're playing, and they're struggling to defend as well. So negative 42 inside 50s on the weekend, biggest differential for the year. So the game plan's sick, but I think it can be rectified if they're pretty innovative in this trade period.
The naivety in me watching the game, what I don't understand is why they play so conservatively when they've got so many flair players. Yeah. Like, don't you coach for what you've got? If you've got Sard and Shield, natural dash in your team, don't you coach to your assets rather than coach to your premeditated game plan?
Well, I think that was an issue last year where their strength was that, but then they got killed on the rebound on the way back. So I think Ben Rutten's trying to sort that out. He and Carousella have come across. But I just think there's players trying to learn this Rutten game plan, and they're not getting where they need to.
Just on that, just to jump ahead, so I feel like they're trying to replicate the way Richmond played and trying to get a base before they add those pieces. But don't you think that while you're catching up with what the benchmark is, it can take you 2 years to learn it, and by the time you learn it, the benchmark's moved to another modern day.
There's certain, but I suppose he's probably starting with one layer and trying to work to the next layer. But I feel, Caro, the club, administration-wise, it's a very patient, whether it's John Worsfold, it's Xavier Campbell, they're very patient. Whereas if you ask any supporter base or the coteries, they are furious. They are ropeable. So they've had enough, yet the club seems to be going, OK, we've had a lot of injuries. We should be OK. It's a new coaching.
You can't be held to ransom by your coteries, though. And Essendon's coteries have been a problem for a long time. I mean, they're passionate, they're great, they give a lot of money to the club, but they get into the heads of players, and I think that's caused problems in the last year or two, which has, caused some divisions, I reckon, between players and the senior coach and John Worsfold. But he was frustrated, and he's probably offended by what Damien Barrett said about him. May as well walk away now. But it does seem to be an odd situation.
Yeah. I'm sort of where I look at Essendon is, I think they're a system-based team, and that means we won't go and hunt anyone or tag anyone. And I'll look at Dustin Martin. We take a look at what he's done to Essendon over the past few years. It's staggering. So Martin just went out there and played the game he wanted to play. I just think that you look at teams like Matty De Boers, frustrate him over the time. You know, Brisbane with Nick Robertons hunted him. Teams who are wanting to go somewhere will go after you. Dylan Clark, to me, should only be playing to tag. Otherwise, he doesn't offer anything. But this is what Dusty has done to Essendon. 2016, the maximum 6 Brownlow votes. 2017, another maximum 3. 5 out of 6, 2018, 1 last year, and give him the 3 in Dreamtime at the G. So I just think, where's the ruthless angle? Where's the, OK, we're going to go hunting Richmond's best player? It's a nice football club that doesn't, you know, everyone's just plodding along. It's just rolling along. Yeah, we've got some injuries. We've got this. It's a transition in a new coach. But again, Essendon will finish 10th, 11th and miss another final series for about the last 15 years, or haven't won a final for 15 years.
The team